Hey now everyone, and welcome. Before we start, we're going to shout out some really cool channels on YouTube. If you're thinking of buying a mini truck, if you have a mini truck and you're modifying it or maintaining it, check out these channels. Whoops, not that one. Okay, my 1991 Super Sambar fuel injected multi-port fuel injection. It's got a non-working speedometer. Now it's in kilometers, so you think that wouldn't be a big deal, right? I'm in USA, so I'm reading miles per hour, so that doesn't matter anyway. I use a GPS unit and I'm all set. You'd think that's fine, but there's a code that's attached to it. The little K truck was running just fine, and it was a steady check engine light. If it was blinking, it's more of a serious thing, and you should pull over and try and assess what's going on as soon as possible. But when you have a sensor like this that goes, or it's sensing that something is wrong, right here, number 33 was my code, vehicle speed sensor system. Now there's either a shorter brake, which means it's not getting the correct power, the ground's off. Vehicle speed sensor could be off itself, which is inside the cluster. It could be a signal system or an off-meter cable. I think that's translation. It's just the speedometer cable. Another lost in translation would be number 54, the smoking Genki department. We're going to try and quickly pull the codes off of the car without using the Subaru Select Monitor. Subaru Select Monitor would be more for the real diagnostics of figuring out like voltage for the sensors, probably like the O2 sensor, what the voltage is doing, the map sensor, what the voltage is doing there. So that type of stuff, yes, you'll need the Subaru Select Monitor for. But luckily, Subaru has made it so us layman folk can go back here and check out what the heck is going on with our system. Subaru Select Monitor is its own little unit, kind of like a Cobb access port or like a code reader. And you would need to probably, if you were to get one yourself now in 2022, you'd probably have to update it somehow, the Select Monitor, and then get the cartridge for your model, that's going to be probably the pain in the butt. I think updating the thing, if it needs to be updated, is probably going to be your hardest thing. So we're going to look for these two. There should be two black monitors up here, two black connectors. There they are. Now you want to connect these two black connectors. I'm going to try and do it with one hand. No way. Now the black connectors are connected. The green connectors, this will check, all your relays will click over and everything if you put that on and turn the ignition on. Right now we're just going to try and read a code. We'll do that in another video if we have to. But right now what you're going to do is turn this thing on to its accessory. Don't turn it like on all the way. Just turn it on so this comes on. You're going to see that this is going to blink for us. Now how it's blinking and the succession in which it blinks is going to tell us what's going on. Here we've got one long blink, two long blinks, three long blinks, three short blinks in rapid succession. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now that's code 33. Now if this were any other code, you'd see that the succession would last longer for the slow blinks and then the fast blinks. My speedometer works now, but it kept it in a memory. Then disconnect the two connectors again, leave them aside, make sure they're disconnected. You don't want to drive around with the green connectors connected or the black connector. That's NFG. Now we're going to jack the car up, support it on jack stands in the rear, and remove the left rear wheel. That's going to give us access to the cable and the speedo gear. If you want to test the cable, it's a 17mm plastic nut. So be very careful of it because you'll strip it out instantaneously. There's 3 10mm bolts for the gear cover. It only comes off and goes on one way, so you can't screw that up, and all 3 bolts are the same length. When you remove this housing, be careful because there might be a little bit of transmission fluid. Now, if there's a lot, that means that the seal is bad for the transmission itself. First, we're going to test the instrument cluster and then the cable. So there's 8 little screws. You're going to want a precision little Japanese screwdriver. It really works well. It'll remove the housing, and then these 2 upper ones and 2 lower ones will remove the gauge cluster itself. The cluster is still attached in the rear by the cable and 2 electrical connections that you can get at just by prying them back from here. Now you can get a drill bit and put it inside of this receiver here for the speedometer cable. Now if you spin that, you should see the speedometer move itself. If that works, you can go back to the speedometer cable with everything hooked back up and hook a drill up to this pin here, spin it backwards, and you'll see the speedometer go. If everything like that is okay, that means your speedometer and your vehicle speed sensor inside of your gauge cluster is working. How this works is the transmission shaft there will spin this little plastic gear, and that spins your speedometer cable. There's a little C-clamp in there that holds the plastic gear, and I noticed that the gear was absolutely shredded. So jpcarparts.com had this gear for me. Come to find out that this gear is used in multiple cars in the Subaru lineup. So I was able to match it up with its part number for the replacement. I reused the old C-clip for the new gear and put her back in the K-truck. Wouldn't be a bad idea to put a small layer of some RTV gray sealant on here before you put the bolts back in. I couldn't find any torque specs, but just get them tight but not too tight. Well, it works, and that's super exciting because it just turned the check engine light off. That was the main reason I wanted it. Like, yes, it's in kilometers, right? And I can't, like, you know, to do the math, I'm going to put little stickers on there so I can tell what the miles per hour is. But the fact that it turned the check engine light off, now this thing's set. Very, very, very happy, very excited. Just to celebrate, we brought Miss Miyagi to her favorite disco. I hope this is going to help everyone out who's got this problem with their speedometer. All 3 of you. No, really. Thanks for watching. Take care, everyone.